this morning, and no, it's not because my face is still swollen. I'll show you. Look, see? I'm back to normal. I don't know if you, well, actually, you wouldn't have known what I looked like with a swollen face, but it was like... Anyway, we have the Bentley Flying Spur V8 for you this morning, and I'm going to answer your questions. Thank you folks who are tuned in live, and I will also be filtering some questions from those that were asked on Instagram. If you want to follow me there, it's at MilesPerHr, and TikTok, same thing, also at MilesPerHr. I also posed this question: what do you want to know about the Bentley Flying Spur V8 First Edition on YouTube's community page? So I'll also filter in those questions. But for the folks who are tuned in live, thank you. Let's see. What do you want to know? I'm realizing I didn't actually print out the questions from Instagram. So I'm going to do my best to remember what was asked along with who asked what question. The first thing people wanted to know was, how much was it? So, actually, I had two Flying Spurs in the very recent history. I had both this V8 First Edition and I had the W12 model. The W12 model starts at $218,000, and this V8 model starts at $196,000. As tested, this V8 First Edition is $280,000, and the W12 that I was testing was $299,000. Highway and city fuel economy is asked by Lipscomb. So the fuel economy for the V8 is 17 combined from, I want to say, 21 highway and I think it's 15 city. And for the W12, it was 16 combined. So you're actually not taking a huge fuel economy hit in the W12. The color of this one is called White Sand, and it looks a little champagne-y to me, which is not my favorite color on a car. This is very like old Bentley here. At least that's my take. And before I get too deep into the live Q&A, I'll mention that I am going to have a full-on review of both the V8 First Edition that we have here and the W12 that I had a couple weeks ago. So I'm gonna have both of them together, and it's gonna be a really interesting review because I'm comparing the engines along with the features and all that good stuff. So look forward to that. And because I'm manning the camera today, I'm not able to take this car for a drive, clearly. So look for all of the POV test drives and night drives and the impressions from the review, all that coming in those in the coming days. Is the grille plastic? Asks Dylan. Lipscomb, if you want to know how I get all these cars, definitely watch my 100,000 subscriber special. Just do a quick search on the channel and I explained it all in detail. Is the grille plastic? This piece does appear to be plastic, and the meshing behind it is plastic. So some exterior details are going to be in plastic, but when you get to the interior, it's shocking that everything you look at is in fact the material it looks like. So if it looks like metal, it's metal. The top speed, asks Edward. The top speed of the V8 is 198 miles per hour. The top speed of the W12 is 207, making it the fastest production sedan currently on sale. Mohammed asks if it's full option. Both of them are very well optioned. This one optioned up from $196,000 to $280,000. How do you get the car? Asked Luxury X Show. I imagine that if you want to buy a Bentley Flying Spur, you can contact your local dealership. For me, if you want to know how I get the cars, watch my 100,000 subscriber special. Okay, cargo space. That was another question I got from a lot of people. So let's show you the cargo space. To open up the trunk, you hit this button here, nestled into the Bentley crest. And that was probably one of the quietest opening trunks I think I've ever heard. It didn't make any noise. It just gently rose. So here is your cargo space. You do not have any fold down for the rear seats. So this is it. There's no additional storage beyond there. You do have a pass-through technically right through there, so you can, if you have skis or a snowboard, pass those through there. But it's 14 point something cubic feet of space. It's a decent sized trunk, and certainly, I mean, you're going to be able to fit any luggage you're going to need for a weekend or even a trip on a plane. But there's not, like, based on the 17-foot length of the vehicle, it's not cavernous as you might expect. We want to see the tail lights. Asked Dylan, do you think it's good for daily use? Yes, this is 100% a great vehicle for daily use. It's super comfy to drive. The ride quality is amazing. Ed Starr coming in with a $10 donation. Please do hand versus wheel size comparison. Interesting. Okay, I will do that, Ed. And I'm going to prioritize that because Ed was so generous to offer a contribution via the super chat. So guys, take Ed's note. If you want to get your question prioritized, definitely do a super chat. So this is my hand, large size hand compared to the wheel. Let's see if I can go back as far as possible. So it's actually not as big of a wheel as you might expect. The thickness of it, so hand on the side of the wheel, if I can get that going. I gotta move around the camera. There we go. Okay, so this piece right here is, I want to say, 1.5 inches in thickness, and that's the outer rim, both in leather, perforated leather here, and then this is just straight leather on the inside with stitching. So the wheel is large, but for a 17-foot long sedan, I would almost expect it to be even larger than this. Everything is in leather. Oh, it's so nice. Audi paddles, a little bit. No, that's a great point, Dylan. That yes, this is Bentley is owned by Volkswagen, who also owns Audi, and so there's going to be some part sharing, but things are different beyond that, because you look back here and I don't know if you can see it. There's texture back here. These are all metal paddles, so they may have taken the shape, but now they are metal, and they've got this really nice rippled texture behind it. Bentley is very fancy. Mohammed, yes, there is Apple CarPlay via this screen that I can show you just by turning on the car. The screen will rotate over. Yeah, and I kind of think like the wheel maybe should be bigger. It doesn't need to be sporty. So here's this, and this is the first screen. It does take a second to load. And then Apple CarPlay is something you can chap into down here. It will show up here. You do have to be plugged in, and my phone is what I'm using to film this video, so it's not going to be plugged in. I can't show you the CarPlay system at work. What was the next question? How does the rear wheel steering effect improve the drive dynamics? Great question, BSPK1. So first of all, it improves the drive dynamics if you're moving slowly, in that it reduces the turning circle, and at speed, the wheels move in the same direction as the front. So low speed, I'll get out and show you actually. We're in park. So the rear wheel steering is an option. It is equipped on this V8 model. At low speed, the rear wheels move in the opposite direction of the front to reduce the turning circle. So making a huge sedan like this turn around about the size of a compact sedan, which is shocking when you're driving the car. At speed though, it improves stability by moving the rear wheels in the same direction as the front. That effectively shortens the wheelbase, not literally shortens it, but it's how it feels, and you feel so much more planted in a corner. And it's a great benefit, again, when you're dealing with something this large at this weight. Lipscomb asked about the weight. It is 5,466 pounds, I believe, for the V8 model. The W12 is another 220 pounds beyond that. Is Bentley reliable? Asks JDen12. So here's the deal. When you're dealing with anything that is in this price bracket, it better not be your only car. You most likely are going to have 2, 3, 4, or more additional vehicles that, in the case of some some gremlin, something going on with your car electronically or mechanically, you're going to have a backup in place. So I would first recommend that. For the Flying Spur, as far as I know, they are fairly reliable. They are Volkswagen products, and those vehicles, after a certain period, Volkswagen, Audi, a lot of the German manufactured vehicles, after a certain period, they start to have electronic issues, but mechanically, it should be just fine. This car is another world. I completely agree. It is another world. At $280,000 is tested. It just sort of like dwarfs everything else around it. What is the weight? I already should the weight. What's the wood trim called? Great question. So in this one, the first edition model has two trims, two veneers. The first up top is this ash wood trim, and down below they call this Grand Black Veneer. And so it's your piano black, but it's actually got this like shadowy gray tinge to it, and I prefer it to traditional piano black in that regard. However, I would say let's scrap the whole thing and do what Bentley has. They have an open pore koa wood that's stunning. I love the duotone of the linen. That's what they call this color. It's like a cream color for the leather. And, oh gosh, what do they call this? It's a navy blue, but I can't remember their official name for it. It's in my review, but I love this duotone with the koa wood. It looks so good. But this duotone veneer is part of that first edition. Yeah, it is stunning in person, Dan. Thank you for joining. If you are going to sleep, thanks for tuning in for a couple minutes. Feel free to go to bed. Does the interior creak? That was another question from Instagram. And so I'm glad it's repeated here because I don't want to forget that. Let's just do a little creak test. Pressing on it. Pressing on the metal pieces here. Okay, I'm hearing a little bit of a creak. I'll turn down the air a bit so we can hear it better and close up this door. There's a little creak there. How about on the air vents? Yeah, I got some creak here. That was a bad one. Up on the leather piece, up top on the dashboard, no creaking there. I'm not hearing any creak as I press on these panels here. On the center. Oh, had a little creak when I pressed down here. So there are some creaks. However, there are some also like overly engineered pieces like this. The gentle dampening of that is crazy, and it's silent. The creaks are not as pronounced when you're just like using the car. You're not going to hear a creak when you're pressing a button, but I did hear it creak when you would go over certain bumps at certain cambers. The whole vehicle seemed to make a creak from all the veneer wood. And that is something that you're not going to deal with in your average car because you're not going to have veneer wood all over the place. In this one, it goes with the territory. Lipscomb, I do know who Scotty Kilmer is. All right, see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. It's a V8. Well, yeah, so Dylan, I wouldn't underestimate it just yet because this is a V8, but it's a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, and it makes 546 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque. The engine bay is also pretty cool looking. So, let's see, I'll turn this around. And lift up. That's so heavy. Doing this one-handed is difficult. Switching hands. Wow, this is really difficult one-handed. All right, I'm gonna use two hands. There we go. Also, the hood is very heavy. Even though it's got two hydraulic struts, it's that heavy. So here's your V8 engine, and I like what they did with this engine bay. It looks really clean. Yeah, there's a little plastic, but you also have this aluminum cover here. Looks amazing. This B for Bentley oil cap cover is just choice. You've got this structural bracing here. It's a good looking engine bay. Yeah, so as I said, 546 horsepower, 568 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, Bentley says is 4 seconds flat, but I've seen faster, just in my own independent tests. You want to hear some revving? Sure. I'm not able to be in two places at once, so I can't go back to the rear car, but I will leave the door open, and the mic is facing in the right direction, so I will rev it out here. I'm going to put it in sport mode to do that. And we're in sport, and let's rev it. Oh, so underwhelming because it's got a soft limiter at 3,000 RPM. And again, I can't be in the back. If you want to hear better revs, I'd recommend watching the upcoming walk around video for this one, because I do have a few revs where it's just sitting there. Alexander Pisuto asks, MilesPerHr, is this or an Audi R7? And if you were to purchase this car, would you go with the V8 or W12? That question, the V8 or W12, is precisely what I stake my review on. So guys, look for that upcoming. I think it's coming out in a week or two, week and a half. And I will answer that question, V8 or W12. But if you ask this or an Audi R7, Audi R7 is more my speed. This big traditional luxury, this is very nice. And it is, I mean, the ride quality is incredible. But the Audi R7 ride quality is actually very good. And the performance of that car is awesome. So I might choose the R7. But if money were no object, it'd be hard to pass up the Bentley. This thing is just, it is, like someone said earlier, another level. Why can't there be leather in there instead of plastic? Where? I'm not sure where you're talking about, because on the interior, there's leather almost exclusively throughout the cabin. So everywhere you would expect there to be fine quality materials, there's leather. And then there are leather in places where you don't even expect it, like here in this patch where no one's gonna see where the door meets the dashboard here. There's leather everywhere. So I don't think they skipped out on anything. They're not skimping on their customers. It is like a castle on wheels. All right, thanks for the video. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for watching Kingdom Funding. So when there's an electronic issue, how much does it usually cost to repair? It's a good question, Jaden. I know when you're dealing with cars of this price, anything that would be a $1,000 fix is going to probably be a $4,000 fix. So just use that math, you know, basically 4x whatever a normal car's cost is to repair. Blacked out. Dan, yeah. I mean, so it's interesting. You'll see the W12 one I had, it was white, but all the details were blacked out. And, you know, it's very trendy right now. I just don't know if it would be my speed. Could I rotate the screen? Absolutely. Good question. So here, if you hit the screen button, it rotates forward. And now you've got 3 dials. On the left, we have the outside air temperature. In the middle is a compass. And on the right side is a lap timer. Lap timer in a 5,400 pound Bentley is an interesting move. Is the ride quality better than the Audi A8? Asks Blu-ray. Is the price justified? The ride quality is definitely better than an Audi A8, and it's also not just the ride quality, it's the whole experience, because you get ride quality, you get cabin insulation, you get just the sound deadening materials inside the car. It's a lot, and it comes together, dual pane glass, it comes together for just a much smoother daily driver. This or a Bentley Bentayga, if I didn't need the utility, if I didn't need the third row, 100% this. One more time, yes, it does rotate one more time, but you have to turn the car off. So I'll turn off the car, and now the screen rotates back to this piece here. Turn it back on, and there's the screen again. How does the ride compare to the Rolls-Royce Ghost? Is it just a silent? For that comparison, guys, watch my review, because I do make a direct comparison against the Rolls-Royce Ghost. Is this loads more stylish than the Bentayga? I think it is. The Bentayga it's a good-looking SUV, and the changes for 21 improve it, certainly. But I think the style of the Flying Spur, is on another level. It really is. I think it just looks that much more special. Because you get these really sharp creases like that one there in the hood, and they're much more pronounced when the whole profile is lower. And this big grille up front, it all just works better on a sedan body style, in my opinion. Do I notice the Porsche underpinning in terms of driving? So yeah, this car shares its platform with a Panamera. And yes, you notice that when you take a corner, and this one that's equipped with the electronic active anti-roll bars, you take a corner in this and it's surprising how good it does. How it doesn't feel like it's sloppy because they're using Porsche underpinnings. Daniel asked if I would take the V8 or W12. Daniel, I'll say the same thing. It's you're going to want to watch my review because I do a direct comparison. I have both the V8 and the W12 in that review, and you'll want to see that one. This is one of the perfect family cars combining luxury and practicality. However, for the 153,000 euros, I'd rather have an Audi R8. Kids can take the bus while the V10 roars. Alexander, I like the theory. Bus, I don't know. I don't know about the bus. Maybe there's got to be a compromise in there. Someone mentioned the Audi R7, right? There you go. That's closer to R8 than we have the Flying Spur, but then your kids can join. Let's try that one. All the options include what's the price of the V8 and the W12? Blue Ray asks. Okay, so the V8 that I have here is $280,000. The W12 that I had with all those options was $299,000. So about a $19,000 delta between the two. And that's pretty close to the starting figure delta between the two, which is $22,000. So if you want the W12 upgrade over the V8, it's a 22 grand change. Oh, thank you, Sumit. I'm glad you really enjoyed the channel. That's awesome. This is the new S-Class, Da Caledo. Da Caledo, I think that you're going to want to watch the review because I don't just compare this to the S-Class, I compare it to the Mercedes Maybach S-Class, a vehicle I haven't driven yet, but guys, it's coming soon on the channel. The Mercedes Maybach S580 is coming soon, so I'll have a more direct comparison, more clear thoughts on that because I am going to get it, what is it, next week? Maybe the week after next? It's coming soon. Alexander, yeah, the R7 is a sweet spot. I have reviewed the R7. Did I do a full review on it? I can't remember if I did a full review or if I just did drives on it, but I definitely have drives. So you're gonna wanna watch those on the channel. But if I get it again, I will do a full review. What are my thoughts on CarWow? I think Matt Watson's hilarious. I really enjoy his videos. Lots of energy. I could never replicate how much energy he has, but it's fun to watch. How's the exhaust noise being more luxury rather than sporty car? Good question, Daniel. It's still on the more subdued side because, as you said, this vehicle is really all about luxury first, and the V8 is the sportier element here because there is the W12, and the W12 is much more about overall refinement and smoothness with tons of power. But the V8 is like, yeah, let's spice things up a little bit so you actually hear the engine in the V8 versus the W12 where you barely hear it at all. How about the headlights? They're like crystals. Yes, these are etched crystal headlight housings, and they are beautiful. Look at these. That's just jewelry. I honestly have spent like 5 minutes just staring at the intricacy of these headlights because they're really cool. And they're even, they do some etched crystal in the Bentley Flying Bee emblem. Shout out for Worship Kids. I'll give you a shout out here. Hey, Worship Kids, what's up? What do you think, Bentley or Mercedes is better? Better? Better is so arbitrary. It's a hard thing to say because Mercedes, as you'll hear in my review, the technology of the new S-Class, it just trumps anything that Bentley has in their cars right now. But the wow factor of the Flying Spur, someone asked about this versus a Bentayga, right? The wow factor of the Flying Spur is substantial. And the S-Class, it wows, but it's like you see them on the road. These, when you see, like, everyone throws attention, even when the car is champagne colored, white sand, whatever you want to call it, Bentley, it gets attention. And so there's definitely a difference. People appreciate that this is not just your average full-size luxury sedan. Ed Starr, again, thank you so much for the super chat. Is the entire roof a glass panel? Great question. It is not. So they chose to do 2 independent sunroofs. First look at the back seats here. So up top, we've got one sunroof and another sunroof. So it's not a continuous panel. And I'll tell you why that actually may be a benefit, because you can still have the more traditional luxury touches like vanities, he said. There they go. So now you got these vanities here that you can pop down, and you've got other LEDs and things like that. That would not be possible if it was a full panel of glass. And then here you also have more lights for illuminating the cabin and sunroof covers, so you can open or close these shields to the sunroofs. So these pieces, yes, there's not quite as much light that's allowed into the cabin, but it also helps this second portion of the cabin feel a little more private, a little more exclusive. You've got your own sunroof, you've got your own window shades, you've got your own vanity mirror. It's kind of like more about that. Is that leather on the headliner? Asks Hamza. Yes, it is. The whole headliner is covered in leather. This is so much more special than microfiber suede. We even have some suede up here on this piece that covers the sunroof, and that contrast with this is just, you just don't see this. This is so much nicer than other cars that do the suede covers, because you can get a suede cover in a Kia. You're not going to see that full leather in a Kia. Alexander asks, is that category what can trump an RS7? I can't think of anything. It is too good. What could trump an RS7? I don't know. I mean, the RS7 kind of dips into like Porsche Panamera. I mean, obviously they share the same platform. BMW M5 competition. There's a lot of cars that compete against it. Better, it's all. I'm not going to review the RS7 right now on this live Q&A, but I'll say there are some other contenders. Which is better, Flying Spur or Bentayga? Asked Worship Kids. Worship Kids, I kind of answered that question earlier. I would choose the Flying Spur if I didn't need the third row of seats, because I just love the sedan driving experience more so than an SUV, and the looks of this Flying Spur compared to the Bentayga are better. Any ambient lighting in the back? Yes. Crizzles. There is ambient lighting. If you watch my POV night drive that's coming out for the V8 model, we've got some ambient lighting that shows in the back. In the W12, it didn't have the ambient lighting option, and yes, it was an option. So you'll have to see that. Suede the same as Alcantara. Alcantara is a branded suede version. So they have their own patented texture and material that they use for their suede. That's why they get to, whenever you say Alcantara, it's supposed to mean something different than just your regular suede. And you can feel the difference between the two. Brake and gas pedals, yes you can, Elon, let me show you those. Any plastics I've found in the car? Sure, they're going to be plastics, but they're hidden away in places. So this is a plastic piece, but it's also high quality plastic, and it's not the primary look. The primary look is at these materials here. This is plastic, but it's hidden in there. Yes, you can find plastics, but I'm going to show Elon the gas and brake pedal because he asked about that. Soft closed doors, by the way, guys. Love that. No loud crashing door sound. Coming down here, so you can see the Bentley on your brake pedal and gas pedal, and these they call these the sport pedals, and that's part of the first edition package. This first edition package, how much do you guys want to guess that this costs? Just this one package. I'll hang out for 10 seconds as I wait for guesses to come in. First edition package, how much do you think it costs? $250,000. No, $1, okay. $12,000, we're getting closer. $60K, $65K, all right. 25, 12 grand, 25,000, 50,000, Mitchell. 64, 30, 15. Guys, Mitchell guessed it. This package alone is $50,000. The first edition has a lot of touches to it, including that leather headliner, the sport pedals, the duotone leather with the duotone veneer. It's got a lot of details to it, but 50 grand, that's a nice sedan in an option, one single option. But great guessing, guys. You guys were on it. JP Rukbesha also guessed $55,000, also very close. Good guessing, Mitchell. Serious question: how soft is the leather compared to regular mass-produced cars? Hamza, that's a superb question, very detailed, and so it means a lot to me because I'm such a tactile person. So as you'll hear in my review, I'll give you a little preview right now. The leather in this car is not like normal leather because Bentley uses a specific cow herd that they have in Northern Europe where the weather is cooler and therefore there are fewer bug bites that would tarnish the quality of the hide. They then hand-pick the hides from that group, and that's what ends up in their cars. So fewer imperfections to the leather and just better quality throughout, and so it feels fantastic, and you're not going to find defects in it that you might otherwise find in vehicles. So it's pretty crazy. Hamza, I'm with you, man. Sometimes I'll sit there and just look at a piece for like 5 minutes and forget, oh yeah, I should be driving this car, but I'm so tactile. How would you rate comfort / driving dynamics compared to the Continental GT? That's a good question. The driving dynamics are, the weight differential between this and the Continental GT is not a ton, if I recall. It's a couple hundred pounds. That Continental GT weighs a lot. And the weight, if you're talking about the Continental GT V8, the weight balance is going to be very similar to this one. W12, there's going to be a lot more weight on the nose of either the Flying Spur or the Continental GT. I found that the dynamics between the Continental GT and this are really similar. I'd feel probably about as comfortable pushing the car in a corner, the Continental GT, as the Flying Spur. But I think that Continental GT just sort of has that look, right? It looks like it's going to be faster than the Flying Spur. Are the exhausts Akrapovic? I don't believe so. I don't think so. I'm not positive on that one, but I don't remember reading that. How many miles do you think this car will last? Ask Worship Kids. It's an interesting question. If it's well cared for, I think it'll last a long time, probably a couple 100,000 miles, because this engine has been used in a variety of different Volkswagen Auto Group products, and it's proven pretty reliable. So I think that the car will last a long time. There are going to be electronic gremlins that you're probably going to have to deal with after 5-6 years. What about the steering wheel? Was that a question from Haroon? I showed it a little bit. It's got this perforated leather rim to it, and then the inside is all leather, along with this contrasting stitch here. You have these metal paddles on the back of it with texture on those. Can it beat the Tesla Model S Plaid? In what? Top speed? Yes, absolutely. The Model S Plaid would definitely run out of steam, whereas this car can hit 198 miles per hour. 0 to 60? No, the Model S Plaid is going to be a lot quicker. This is going to be 4 seconds, maybe a touch below that. Is the hybrid coming real soon? Asked Blu-ray. Yes, there is a hybrid model that is, it's going to be on sale, if not like this month, like next month. So it's coming very soon, and I didn't have a chance to review that one, but comparing the W12 to this, it should be pretty entertaining. What improvements do you think they've made in this car compared to what year, Sumit? Compared to the prior generation of the Flying Spur, there's been a lot of updates. I think the ride quality continues to improve. The material quality continues to improve. The technology has gotten a lot better as well. This touchscreen infotainment is now totally usable. It takes a while to boot up, but it works just fine. You have Apple CarPlay, you've got Android Auto, you've got a digital instrument cluster. It's got everything you need, whereas I feel like previous generations just had traditional luxury. They didn't have any kind of good tech. Safety features, asked JP. Yes, this one does have adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert. It's got all those goodies. And The blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic and auto emergency braking are all standard. The adaptive cruise is an option. Love from Pakistan. Thank you, Farhan. Hello, Anmo L. 55K you can get with level 2 and 3 autonomous driving. Yeah, this is level 2. There's not anything more sophisticated than that. Would I say the leather is superior or inferior to the Rolls-Royce leather? I'm gonna say it's very close. It's very close, Hamza. That's a great question. I know Rolls-Royce also has an exclusive process of choosing the leather for their cars. So I'm not gonna say it's better, but I don't know if it's worse. What's the MSRP? You're pretty new to my channel. Well, thank you for joining. The MSRP of this one is $280,000. The starting figure is just under $200,000. The stops for the vents. Oh, you like the plungers? Yes. So all the air vents have these ornate plungers to them that are they're very fun to operate. There's probably not a more entertaining way to open or close the airflow in your car. According to its better compared to Rolls-Royce Ghost. Is it better than Rolls-Royce Ghost? I'll tell you this, Harun, you should definitely watch my upcoming review because I will have a more detailed comparison between this and the Rolls-Royce Ghost. How many gears? This has an 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive system. How satisfied am I with a named sound system? Very satisfied. So that is an $8,800 option, 19 speakers, 2,200 watts, I think, off the top of my head. It's an incredible sound system. If you want to hear it, my POV test drives and POV night drives, both of the V8 and the W12, they both have the named sound system. You'll want to hear those because the quality is so good. I mean, the power, 2,200 watts, is intense as well. The gear selector, you're asking about that. Here it is right here. It is a honking thing. So you got this leather strip on it and metal details, and you press down on the B to move it into drive or up to reverse. Oh, someone I remember in one of the Instagram questions was asking about the surround view camera system. And we're getting details of watching everyone walk around the car. So you've got front and rear angles. The rear one has the grid lines with trajectory. You've got side angles so you don't scrape up those 22-inch wheels. Panoramic front and rear views, and that's because the door is open. You're not seeing the overhead view right there. And then you can clean the system at any time. The rear one only, but I'm not going to do that right now. But you can clean it at any time by pressing that button. So yeah, it's got a really nice 360-degree surround view camera system. Bentley, Rolls, or Maybach, rate them 1, 2, 3. Gareth, it depends on what you're going for. For me, I like the driving experience, and so I would put Bentley just above Rolls for the driving experience. Maybach's more about the tech, and the flash. That's not always my favorite, so I might put that in the third. But it comes down to each vehicle, so that's a generalization. Each car has its own little details. I like this analog clock. You can see the textured face of it right there. Bentley, established 1919. How much better quality is the leather compared to Merino or Dizino leather? Infinitely. You can feel the differences, and if you start to pour over the details, you're not going to see any defects. Different drive mods, yes. Modes, yes. There are several drive modes here. So you've got Sport, Bentley mode, which is kind of like your normal mode, but Bentley mode just sounds better, and Comfort mode, which prioritizes obviously comfort, so it's going to have the adaptive dampers and air suspension as plush riding as possible, and Custom, where you can fine-tune steering feel and throttle response and transmission tuning, all those details in the infotainment. So those are your drive modes. Pop out. Been inside the car a lot. Going back to the back seat, if you guys want to look around here, go to the other side. Let's see, screen rotation. Dylan, I already showed that a little bit earlier in the video if you want to check that out. Someone else asked about that. Defects of the car, Haroon. It's an interesting question. So, defects, man. I haven't honestly noticed a defect. A defect meaning something that they didn't do well. There are things that for this price, other cars conceivably could do better. If you're looking at tech, Mercedes-Maybach, I think Mercedes-Maybach or just Mercedes-Benz, the technology in those cars are really sophisticated. Bentley doesn't have the same level of sophisticated technology. It has enough, but it doesn't have the same level. But driving experience, I think for this price, you could find a better driving sedan, certainly. But defects, I can't really say there's anything that Bentley screwed up in this sedan. There are things that you may just favor more one over the other sedan. I want to show you this back screen. It's pretty cool because you can take it out and then you could do all the same things that you were doing with the screen here in the car from outside the car, like making the flying spur be revealed or concealed. When's the Model S Plaid review coming out? Well, a review, I'm not sure, because Tesla doesn't have a PR department anymore, so I can't get a car on a loan, but I do know someone with a Model S Plaid, so I can definitely guarantee that we're gonna do a drive. I'm just not sure when. So look at this. So I'm gonna make sure that the Flying Bee is concealed just by hitting that button from a tablet that's from the inside of the car, and now you can conceal it or reveal it from outside the car. I just think that's really cool. It's cool for me. Might have answered this, but does the car come with massaging seats? James, I have not answered that question. Good question. No, yes, it does have massaging seats. I don't know why I said no. It has massaging seats both in the front and rear. So rear passengers get massaging seats as well. You can access your massage from here. Go to seats. Sorry, there's a lot of glare on the screen and smudges. Go to seats and then choose right or left passenger. And then now you can choose the type of massage you want. Here are your choices. And then the intensity once you select that massage. So that's for the rear passengers. Front seats also get massaging. And heating and ventilation for both front and rear. Yes, that's the answer to that question. Front and back are both heated and ventilated. Try to yoink the Flying Bee. I'm not going to try it because I don't want to. I haven't messed with it and I haven't looked into what happens. I'm sure it hides itself, but I'm not going to try to break it off. Bentley stylus would be perfect for the screens. That would be really cool, Elon. I imagine that would get lost pretty quickly, unless it was magnetized, and then it could just stick right to whatever system it was on. With a sound system that powerful, do I get rattled from the doors and panels with excess vibration? Really good question, Topher. No, I do not get any vibration as you're starting to blare the name sound system, and there's a few reasons for that. One, the insulation. So the speakers are behind these leather panels here, and this is actually, sorry, this is plastic, but the leather is surrounding it on the outside. And then the vents for the speakers up there on the driver door are leather cutouts. And so there's not the vibration from the noise against these pieces here, but they also dampen all of the, so this may be plastic here. Someone asked about, is it plastic? Yeah, this is plastic here. It's really ornate plastic and high quality, but they dampen all of these so well that there's not gonna be the reverberation from the sound waves. What would happen to this tablet if we drop it on the floor, Harun? I don't know. I imagine it would break. I'm not gonna do it. What's the price of the rear infotainment? This is not an option. This is actually a standard thing on the Flying Spur, that little tablet there. I think you can pay to have, yeah, because these are where you plop in those screens. You can pay to have each individual passenger having their own screen in addition to that, which I guess would be really nice if you're having an executive be driven around all the time, but I don't think it's necessary. Windshield wiper test, can you see it? Yes, you can on my POV test drive. Does it have the deep pile over mats? No, this one does not. And so it just has these reasonably thick carpets here, but not like, I love the deep pile. That's another texture thing So the Rolls-Royce Ghost that I had recently, they had the deep pile for their wool floor mats. And let me tell you, it was super nice. Made you want to take off your shoes all the time. Of course, I kept my socks on, not to be gross, but it felt really good. So I'm missing out on that. You met the screens, Dylan. Sorry. Price of the rear infotainment. Oh, like if I wanted that option? I'm not sure what that option cost is. I imagine it's probably at least $2,000. Demonstration of the camera system. So I gave that little demo, RK, just a few minutes ago of the 360-degree camera system. Watch a little earlier on in the live Q&A. Honestly, it was maybe 5 minutes ago. Can I touch the leather seats? Yes. The mic is facing me, so you probably don't hear this. I'll turn it around so you can. That's the sound of the leather on the backs of the front seats. The walk-around video will also have more of that if you're interested. What do I think about manual in the Spur? So it has a manual mode. Obviously, there's no clutch or anything like that. And the manual mode operation is pretty good. I find that the shifts are fairly quick. And if you want to watch more of that, my POV test drive will have that for you. Why you not going to drive, Asarin? I'm not going to drive because I'm holding the camera, and that is not safe. Headroom, very good, Bina. So let's see, I'll flip the camera around. So I'm here in the second row of seating, back seats, and you can see my head clears the roof pretty generously, while also, flip this around, giving myself plenty of knee room. And that passenger seat here is a little further forward, just a tiny bit, actually maybe almost exactly with the driver's seat. So you can see that at 6 feet tall, that's my driving position, and this is all the knee room and foot room that you have, and the headroom. And also my head is on this, look at this suede pillow. Speaking of suede, I don't think this is Alcantara, but it is nice. Capacity in the baggage area, or shall you say area? The capacity is 14 cubic feet of space. I showed the cargo space in that area just a bit earlier if you want to check that out in this live Q&A. Channel is great. I love your channel. Thank you for all. Well, thank you, Mohammed, for participating. I really appreciate your support. Can I get two-step as an optional? Two-step as an optional. I'm not sure what you mean. Literally, your name is Bro. If you can explain that a little more, I'll definitely answer. Daniel Zwanink, I'm sorry. Can it do donuts? It's an all-wheel drive vehicle. It is rear drive biased, especially in sport drive mode. I think you could probably get a good donut working in this one. It would be hard, but you could probably get it working. Is it good at soundproofing as compared to the Rolls? The Rolls, I'm going to say, is even better with the sound insulation than this, but it's also compared to the W12 model, the Rolls-Royce is $115,000 more expensive. Let's see. The back seat come with massage. Yes, Yusuf Fanizam. The rear seats do come with massage. You can access your massage here, or you can also turn it on by hitting this button here on the door. Can you hear the sound system? I don't have my phone plugged in, and that's how I can show you some royalty-free music. So I could play, I think it has classical music tuned up. So yeah, we can play that for just a quick sec. It's not gonna be a long test because I don't want to get into royalty issues, but I will pump the name sound system. I love soft closed doors. Okay, so here we go. Let's get classical going here. That's half volume. That actually scared me. uh, oh man, when the bass hit cheese, that freaked me out. Whoa. All right, Mohammed, you wanted to see the ambient lighting. All right, we can make that happen for you. So we'll go here and what did I mess up? Oh, settings. There we go. Settings. They call it mood lighting, but they're ambient colors. These are your different colors. This is how we would look in the car. It's morning time here on the west coast of the US, so I don't have ambient lighting to show you in the car, but it would appear here and up on the panel here on the dashboard and on the doors. The ambient lighting is really pretty cool. So look for that in my night drive of this vehicle. It freaked me out. It was a strong bass. These are the Range Rover Velar SV Autobiography Ultimate Edition. The Velar is definitely a class below this, a couple classes below this. I think a more direct competitor would be like the Range Rover, the full-on Range Rover SV Autobiography Dynamic, and I think I'd still choose the Flying Spur. This is a very special vehicle. Does it come with a fridge option for Champagne? Asked James. I believe you can get the fridge as an option in that center console, especially now because they don't have the Mulsanne anymore, and the Mulsanne was the big dog, the top dog in the lineup, and that was more a rival for the Rolls-Royce Phantom. And I know that one had a fridge option. I think they still offer that for the Flying Spur. All right, are these cars driving experience like Audi 8 or more like Porsche Panamera? Mark, that's a good question. So it's the same platform as the Porsche Panamera. I think it probably drives more like the A8, not quite as sporty as the Panamera, but if you chuck it into a corner, as you'll see in my review, it handles very, very well, especially if you get the optional electronic active anti-roll bars as this one has. So it's shockingly good. Oh, you want to see a honk? Well, let me roll down the window, and we'll just do a little quick honk. Honk. So the horn sounds like from inside the car with the window rolled down. That's it. That sounds about what I'd expect. Very authoritarian. That's a premium honk. Think up. I agree with you. That is a premium honk. It is not a chintzy little honk there. Elon, yeah, it would drive similar to an Audi A8L. I think that the sportiness, there's probably even a little more of it to the Flying Spur than the Audi A8. It'd be almost S8 levels of sporty, but with even better ride quality and better cabin insulation. Can we do a burnout with this car? I think a burnout would be really difficult. I don't think it would let you do that because even if you turn off the traction control system, you may be able to get some wheel slip, but if you use the launch control system, certainly not, because it's going to split the power exactly where it needs for the car to get the best acceleration off the line. This a new Maybach? Asks Ayush. Well, Ayush, watch my upcoming review of this car because I compare it to the Mercedes Maybach S-Class. And with that being said, sound insulation, Mohammed, it's excellent. More on that in my review. And they're probably going to wrap this one up, guys. I want to thank Ed for his super chat contributions, 2 of them. Guys, I would really encourage you, support the channel. Please do some super chats, and I'll prioritize your questions always. I'll get them answered first, and it really just helps support the channel. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Elon, for participating. Thank you, everyone else who was chimed in asking questions live. I'm sorry for the folks who asked questions on Instagram and YouTube's community page. I forgot to print out your questions, so I couldn't get them answered. But I think that's going to do it for this live Q&A. There we go. Come on, camera. Down. Down, boy. Nope, that's up. There we go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. All of my content on the Flying Spur V8 and W12 is coming out soon, and the review that compares the 2 of them along with the Flying Spur's most direct rivals are also coming out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. And thank you, Ed, so much for your super chat contributions.